Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am the Crypto Crow. It's probably early. Should be about 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time by the time you're watching this. And I wanted to discuss Bitcoin for a change because there's some action going on, and I wanted to kind of discuss what I'm seeing and what you might want to consider. Now, I've been seeing some recent videos by some pretty high level YouTubers out there talking about how there's likely going to be a big crash in the Bitcoin price throughout October due to the elections and things of that nature, and comparing it to like the S&P 500 and other markets. And I started thinking, well, you know what, let's take a look at the history of Bitcoin's price action during not just election years in October, but just in October, the month of October in history. And let's just kind of see what we might be expecting. So as you can see right here, this yellow vertical line is the start of this new October month. Actually, this was September 28th, so we're going to move that to October 1st. And you can see we started off right at a bang. October 1st, boom, a little flash dip in the market. We had the CFTC coming out with news that they're filing charges against a derivatives exchange, one of the largest out there, and for all sorts of things like money laundering and just a lot of bad stuff. But they've been kind of, the public's had an eye on them for years. So I don't think any of that really surprised anybody, but the news definitely sent Bitcoin's price down quite a bit, and it's still coming down now. We're on a daily chart right here. And so we're looking at that. Now, we're going to continue moving back in time, and we're going to take a look at what was happening in the month of October and November, because I think November is a very pivotal month. And I think some of what I've been seeing kind of seems to have it backwards a bit. So I'm going to show you. Okay. So right here, we're actually looking at September 30th to October 31st, and we're seeing Bitcoin's price move up 13% during the month of October. And then shortly following that, we saw a significant dip throughout the month of November. So what I'm seeing is there going to be this big bloodbath in October? Well, just in the most recent year, September 19th, we did not see that. We saw some pretty big dips that balanced out. We saw a lot of volatility in the month of October, but ultimately we finished out 13.5% above our opening price for the month. We got up here. We got as high at this point in time. We got as high as 348, but we settled at the market around 92.20. So we actually got up substantially higher. If we want to go all the way to that wick, we actually wicked up 26, almost 27% in the month of October. And then in November, we saw a substantial dip below. So if we're going to pull the price metrics here, we're going to go all the way down here to this wick. We actually lost the 30% that we gained, okay? So that's what I saw October and November. And this was from September 30th of 2019 all the way to October and into November of 2019. So it was a lot of volatility, but the month of October didn't prove very drastically bad. November did. Okay, so here we're actually seeing October of 2018. Now keep in mind, these are bear market years, okay? These are bear market years post a bull market. And even with that, we did see a decline of about 3% by the time the month opened to the time the month closed. We actually wicked down as low as negative 8% throughout the month, but ultimately we ended up closing out at around negative 2.5%, negative 2.6%. And then what happened again? We had another big dump in November, substantial dump in November. How far down did we go? Let's just take it to the low here, down 51%. So October looked kind of shaky, and then we saw a drastic drop in the month of November, down 51% in November. So again, this was just after the height of the market, and we continued to peter down. So this was a bear market. This was early bear market for that matter. So it makes sense that we would see some significant decline in the price action over this time period. Okay, so now we're looking at October of 2017. Okay, so this is during the run up. This is during the bull market. This is about where I expect us to be this time next year. Okay, so you can see we were already kind of moving up into this big parabolic run up. I actually got into the crypto space right about here. So I'm pretty sure, I got in around 7,000, and before I realized that Bitcoin was over 8,000, and then it just started to go parabolic from there. So you saw during this month, we actually went up almost 42% in the month of October of 2017, and in November, things really started to take off. So from what I'm seeing, it almost seems like, depending on whether you're in a bear or bull market, November is kind of like, it's almost like October, it's loading its gun, and November it fires it. In whatever direction October is kind of set the stage for. So considering right now we're in a bull market, we did have this bad news and everything going on with the CFTC, which rattled some cages because people are likely moving a lot of money around and moving their money off of the platform. I mean, that's probably what's happening. And what's likely happening is the price dipped significantly because people are exiting the platform, not necessarily in Bitcoin, but likely USD Tether. So there's a lot of Bitcoin selling going on around this time because people are moving their assets from one place to another. I'm guessing. I haven't confirmed that by using any on-chain metrics or exchange metrics or anything. I'm just assuming that's likely what's been happening. Okay, so here we're actually looking at October of 2016. This is again still the bull market. Now this is technically about where we are now, roughly where we are now in this market cycle. And you can see we have some volatility. You're talking September, we had the price pump, and then we started to see some dip, and that's basically what's been happening. Like as of right now in the market, this is pretty much where we're at. Now, we did see some dips in the market. Now, granted, we started the month pretty strong. We went sideways, some accumulation days here. The price dipped. I don't know what the news conditions were like at that time, but then we just started to shoot up. And then what happened there is November continued the trend. That trend continued pretty substantially all the way to 11,000. This was 1,100. This was back in 2016 or early, just getting into 2017. But the peak was at January. Basically the first of the year 2017, and we rose all the way up to 1141. But if we're gonna try and figure out what did we do over this time period, let's say we started down here, right about here at about 610. The price closed out for the month up 14%, and by the time we concluded November we went to, let's see, that was about 20%, and then December we closed out the month. So over the course of that 3-month period, we were up around 61%. So this is basically this is roughly where I see us being potentially right now in the future. Now, that's not to say that this is what I'm expecting, but you're talking 2016 here, okay? And so this was the very beginning of the last bull cycle as we headed into 2017, went parabolic, and then by the end of that peak, we were looking at a $20,000 Bitcoin before we hit the bull or the bear market. Now, to give us another idea here, this is back in 2015, okay? The beginning of October 2015, we went up 34%, almost 34.5%. And then November continued that trend up, but then we peaked out. We wicked all the way up here at $502. We came back down, and then that momentum continued until we finally peaked low at $293, and then we started to accumulate. Overall, I'm not overly concerned about the month of October. I think we're going to be fine. And I'm not, I think, look, we're in a bull market October. And, and keep in mind too, President Trump was elected in November of 2016. Okay. So, November of 2016, that's where we're at here. That's January 2017. So this was the very beginning of that year. And let's see, we're November. I should have just marked out all the November months. So, okay. So yeah, so November started here and concluded about here, right? So there wasn't a whole lot going on. That was in 2016, folks. So, a lot of people are saying, oh, well, the prices that might continue to crash down because because of the president, nobody knows who the president's going to be. Nobody knows exactly what's going to happen. And, there might be some of that. But I honestly, look, this is a weekly chart. We did get a pretty heavy crash here. And yeah, we had a little dip, but ultimately we've seen that. If you look at previous Octobers, we've seen that. So I'm not overly concerned. We were still up almost 27% for the month of October. We only had 1 month that I saw in the past 5-6 years where the price actually went down in the month of October. So, and then there was 1 month where it went kind of sideways. I think we lost 2.6% over that time period. So I don't think that, I'm not expecting a huge crash down to 9,000 or 8,000, or some people are even saying 6,000. But what I also know is that every time I do a video and I say, oh, I think I'm going to get liquidated, I think the price is going to go down, it goes up. So, I don't know 100% what's going to happen, but I personally do not think that October is going to be a big bloodbath month. I think there's a lot of stuff going on with the election. I'm okay with that, but I'm not overly concerned. And what I do believe is long-term, regardless of what happens throughout the month of October, it's likely, if it does go down, an opportunity to accumulate more. So until next time, guys, thanks for joining me. I'll see you again soon. Crow your coins.